Welcome to the 2014 European Spring Challenger Series postseason. The quarterfinals are up today and tomorrow. It's going to be a whole bunch of fun. Of course, brought to you by Coca-Cola. I am David Freak Turley. With me is Aiden Zyrene Moon. Happy April 1st, everybody.
Yeah, happy April 1st. Hope everybody enjoyed that. Future of the LCS coming your way, Season 5.
Yeah, it's going to be a whole lot of fun. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Well, today, of course, we're going to have Team Coast Gold versus DNL. Now, this is a couple of name changes. DNL is formerly known as Departed. They're the team that went top 2 in the Spring Series 2. So actually take a look at the brackets. You guys can see where everyone placed up here. You're going to see who everyone's going to be playing. Of course, Team Coast Gold, also known as Never Give Up, also known as Osomniac. This is now they are Team Coast Gold. So you can see here on this one, it's going to be the matchup. See who goes forward.
Yeah, and these teams have actually faced each other before, and it was a 2-0 in favor of Departed, which is now DNL.
Yeah.
And one of those games was a forfeit, so we didn't get to see the full potential of the Osomniac Never Give Up / the Coast Gold today. And all these name changes, it's April 1st, but they're still pulling my leg.
Yeah, half the team's got new names, but they're actually real new names. My favorite, though, Copenhagen Dogs. That's my favorite name change.
Everybody's going to say that differently.
Yeah.
Dogs.
I think it's Doge.
Heard somebody who's like doggies. I'm like Doge because D-O-G-E is already a word.
Whatever. I'm putting my foot down. It's pronounced Doge. Of course, guys, you want to check out everything about the Challenger Series or the LCS, head over to lolesports.com.
And there you'll find stats, scores, brackets, and everything else you could want at the top of the page. Just click up there, go to the tab. If you want NA Challenger, and if you want EU Challenger. It's what we're going to be doing today. Super excited for this matchup.
So you can fact check anything you want, but of course you're here for the games themselves, so let's break it down. Quarterfinal matchup, best of 3, Team Coast Gold versus DNL. There's a couple things to talk about here. So DNL, extremely strong team as we've talked about. Great players out on the line. Nick, especially in the mid lane, is a great player.
Yeah, Nick 760, very versatile, very good and potent, but he's actually stuck to his guns and gone with Ziggs most of his games. So he likes that wave clear. He likes helping out the other lanes, and Ziggs is fantastic. Has that extra wave clear on the sides. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a banned here, since, once again, it's 4.4.
Yeah.
So you don't have to spend a ban on Kassadin.
Sure.
Lulu's kind of just, red side ban, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Ziggs here.
Yeah, but the problem with Team Coast Gold, actually the interesting thing with Team Coast Gold, is they've replaced their top laner and their jungler. So Morsu and Lasagna are out. Instead, they got Vanez and Airwalks. Now, Airwalks is interesting because Lasagna was kind of a weak point for the team. Airwalks is number 15 in Challenger's solo queue.
Yeah.
This is the guy to keep your eye out on.
He's 1 above Trashy last time we checked, and he's about 5 above Froggen. And top 15 in all EU West. You get bragging rights with that. So they picked him up over Lasagna, who was one of the weak points on the team. And then up in the top lane, it was Morsu, who was wild card. And now we have Vanez, who is very, very standard in his play style, but he does have a couple of carries in his back pocket. So they can fall back on that style that Morsu had if that was their strength, or they can just play a standard game and have that tanky champion, which is what they were lacking through a lot of their games and their losses.
Yeah, so we'll see what these guys do now with the new rosters, with the new champions in there. Of course, the Draven still banned away from Ritix, normal stuff here. The mid lane Lulu banned away from Coast Gold. Love to put that on Masterwork, but you're not going to usually get Lulu on red team. That's all fine. So it's worth pointing out that there's no Jax ban anymore against Coast Gold because their big Jax top laner is gone as well.
Okay, so the thing I want to point out here is Kha'Zix is possibly the last ban. If he isn't, then it would most likely be picked up first here, because Kikis loves that champion, and Nick, he can play that in the mid lane too, but it's more or less just first pick, go to the jungle. And there's the Ziggs ban like we saw.
Yeah.
Predicting that one coming out here, because Nick has just had such great performances and map pressure on that champion.
Absolutely.
And when they last met each other, he was dominating with it.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at this, you say, okay, we're going to remove the Nili as well, so more sort of safe backline champ is going to be removed, going to force DNL to play a little bit more aggressively. Of course, all the bans here for DNL are new ones. The Renekton and Evelynn, things they hadn't banned before. The Kha'Zix, as you said, unbanned, and it does get picked up.
Yeah, that's not surprising at all. And now I want to see what Team Coast goes with here, because I wouldn't be surprised if they secure Lucian first for Ritix, because that's his fallback after his Draven is always banned out. It's just always banned against him. Just rule of thumb, rule of law when you play Coast. And they may secure something for Masterwork. But okay, so they're going to go with solo lanes here is what it looks like.
Yeah.
And I like the Lee Sin because it takes away from Kikis, because last time they played each other, that's all he played.
Exactly.
So Departed DNL didn't change up their game strategy from games 1 and 2. They were just like, all right, Ziggs worked, we'll pick it again. And it's like, oh, Lee Sin worked, we will pick it again. Yeah. So
And so I like this. Honestly, what I tend to see with like the first 3 to 4 picks per team, or first like 3 to 4 picks overall, but the early ones for each team, is they always go to the contested picks, saying, look, these we can build a strategy around, they'll remove it from you. And the last ones actually fill out the strategy afterwards, the things that you're more likely to get. Masterworks got his own sort of unique champion pool of defensive champions. Janna, Zillion are 2 of the big ones he's played when Lou's not available, so he might play them again. Maybe he'll actually pick something new and go for like Thresh or Annie, but
yeah. Like you were saying, contested picks are the #1 thing to take off the field. Basically, it's like OPs and then contested.
Yeah.
It's like that first pick is always, let's just take something that was left open.
Yeah.
Because
that is a contested pick.
Right. Yeah. For the most part.
By default, it is.
Yeah. You know, they play a little bit of Kha'Zix, but now we have Airwalks.
Yeah.
And he's a big Lee Sin player.
Yeah.
So they opt for the Kha'Zix. Lee Sin isn't going to be taken away anytime soon because they have the Kha'Zix for the jungle here for Kikis. So they were just like, all right, let's just secure our jungler and not show too much. And the Gragas is actually a flex pick because it can be in the top lane because Vanis has played that before.
Yeah.
But it could go to BB. And I've said this before with BB, he's most convincing when he's on a shielding type mid laner. So his Orianna is usually his go-to, some type of support mid lane.
And we'll see if they end up going with that one, or if they go for the Syndra anyway, just because it's what he likes to play. But as you mentioned, not his best performances. So Lucian and Thresh do come through for the Denial bottom lane. They have been playing very well for the team overall, and Willet's going to get a nice Lucian pickup.
Yeah, so they take the Lucian away, so that Riddick doesn't get it.
Yeah.
So he has to fall back on Caitlyn or Sivir, or pull something else out. We have seen Twitches more recently.
Yeah.
Since OGN, they just brought that out. And it's funny when a champion hasn't received a buff or a nerf in a very long time, and somebody's like, this is actually a good champion, you guys, and nobody's played it. And then they're like, wow, it is!
Yeah, you're right. And the funny thing with Twitch is after the nerfs where the 0 stack expunge damage went down, you just kind of need to lock down the support to get them in range for more attacks to make the expunge basically reach old damage values. And when everyone's playing things like Lucian and Leona, or Thresh and Leona, you got the lockdown to do it. So Coast Gold, they're going to go for Caitlyn and Karma on their pickups, though. I guess we haven't really seen Karma mid in a very long time, so I'm guessing it's a very poke-heavy bottom lane. And what I like about this is I think this is the bottom lane that we just saw Copenhagen Wolves use in the European LCS, where they have so much push power.
The Doges?
And the Copenhagen Dogs. They had so much push power and so much ability to kill turrets that it's a strong lane.
Yeah, it's a very strong lane. And with the Spell Thieves, once you push up, it's just free gold because you get that on auto attacks to turrets.
Yeah.
So Karma, very good support coming out lately. And you can build the Spell Thieves and not sacrifice mobility because your Mantra Inspire is just so good. It's basically a Talisman of Ascension for your team.
Yeah.
So you don't need a Talisman of Ascension.
Yeah.
And I actually really like that, and I like that it's been played more and more emphasis on the poke. So now we're going to see things in support that counter Karma, and then the meta will just keep shifting over and over again. It's just a lovely game we have here.
And I like that they introduced something new and say, oh, you know what, this actually was going to work, we found a new thing. I like that they're actually upgrading all the way to Frost Queen's Claim as well, and it's like, I've got even more CC to bring to the team. And I know, like, when we first made the changes, we're like, well, people will probably still go Ascension, but Players really latched on to the updated support items. Last picks come through on both sides. Rai is going to come through for Coast Gold in the top lane, as well as the Kale and Shyvana to round out the solos for Denial.
Okay, so many reasons that Rise has come back to fruition. Doesn't have a lot of kill potential in lane, unless you take Ignite. TP is really good now, because if you TP to a turret, cooldown is drastically reduced. I believe it's down from 300 to 200.
Yes.
And you can get Distortion on top of that. If you want to, a lot of people get Home Guard. But Rise also bullies a lot of the top laners that are emphasized in that early game and late game semi-scaling. And he scales even better than most top laners. It brings that AoE persistent damage to the team fight. So looking at the overall team compositions here, Denial, they're going to rely on Kikis from the jungle for a good portion of their damage. Nick in the middle will also bring it. But then on the flip side, we actually see that Coast Gold, with the new roster, with Airwalks and Vanas in the top lane, they've actually changed a lot of their strategy. We see BB on Gragas, have not seen him on that previously. And I wonder how that's going to perform. Because are they going to be able to carry the game? Because in the past, it was Riddick's. It was always on his shoulders.
Yeah.
So in these past couple of weeks, have they adjusted their strategy and their meta to make it so that he's not the sole carry of the game?
Yeah. Something to watch out for. Honestly, it's interesting because for the Denial side, they run a very standard team composition, right? Tank in the top lane, Kha'Zix is the new go-to jungle, Kayle, nothing we're surprised by in general, and of course, Thrash solution, pretty standard stuff overall. What's interesting to me about the lineup for Coast Gold, again, formerly Insomniac, formerly Never Give Up, if you're confused by the name, Coast picked them up, it's their new name, don't worry about it too much. They're running no tanks. There's no real frontliner here. No Leona support. Lee Sin usually builds Lizard Elder and builds one more offensive item, like a Hex Drinker, or at least semi-offensive item. And so Coast Gold's got to be worried about a real 5-on-5 heads-up team fight.
And their 5v5 team fight you were just talking about, when they have double AP like this, if you start building magic resistance on their Shyvana, he's just going to run into the team fights, and I assume that's going to be one of his first items. Banshee's Veil, Spirit Visage, one of the two.
Early Cowl at least.
Early Cowl, sit on it for a bit, maybe. But that is what I assume the route is going to be. He's actually not going to have a great time up in that top lane. And if you lane swap it, then Ryze can just TP to a different lane. And you can swap it back very quickly so that he isn't in a 2v1 situation, which is one of his weaknesses because he doesn't CS under turret very well.
Sure.
And he does really well in 1v1s, especially against these tanky top laners.
Completely agree. We'll see where these guys go with their lanes. Of course, we are on 4.4. Trinket Ward's going to be available at 2 minutes. We'll see when that eventually happens here. Minute and 10 seconds into the game. Both teams actually just spreading out their battle lines right now, pretty much mirroring each other's movements. The one thing, though, to point out is that Coast Gold did go for Spell Thieves +1 potion +1 ward on Masterwork. He's actually put an early defensive ward on the top lane Tribrush there to look for late invades.
Okay. I like that. A lot of people have been starting with a single ward because of the changes to trinkets, and keeping yourself covered is very, very important. I'm just waiting for the day when everybody says, you know what, we're going to start 3 wards on our supports again. I don't care about the gold generation items, let's just do it.
Some teams do.
And then get the invade, get the late invade, get the information you need, because that was something we saw all throughout Season 3.
Absolutely.
Was basically supports were walking ward holders.
Yeah. I don't think it'll go that drastic.
No.
But
people love their gold generation items. It's good, too. It means we made some great changes.
I've seen multiple openings, actually. I've seen cloth ward potion for the top laner. I've seen machete ward, like 2 potions in the jungle as well. Like, we've seen the burden get shared a little bit also in games I've seen in the competitive scene.
Okay, so here's the thing. We saw that Ryze is getting 2v1'd in the top lane, so he immediately goes to the jungle to help clear, get a little bit of experience for himself by just leeching. And instead of TPing it, because a lot of people will actually, when they don't want a 2v1 lane, they will put their AD carry and support middle.
It's true.
And then have whoever it is go to the top lane. If it's 2v1, all right, we rotate it very, very quickly. Yeah. And they didn't prepare for that because they actually just want to tower push this bottom lane. And because the bottom turret doesn't have that extra defense, then it's a good spot.
Look at this, though. They're going to try to deny Kikis' second buff right here. The teleport Ryze. They save it for the jungle invade. What a nice move. The smite comes in. Airwalks gets it.
So they're shutting down Kikis a little bit. They're in position for this. And this is a great move by Coast Gold, and I love this because last time they played against Denial, they were basically paralyzed. Now they're making early moves, and it's good moves too. They're going to get this turret with 4 men strong. Top turret's going to take a beating. They will most likely lose it, but then they're in a position to take Dragon. And the question is, can Lucian and Perm realize we need to go to Dragon very quickly and meet them there?
We'll see what kind of damage they have. Notice that they've actually donated all of the experience to Ritix. He's level 3 and Masterwork is 1. So they're making sure Caitlyn has the extra stats from leveling up to push towers a bit faster. Masterwork doesn't care about stats and leveling up, and they're just doing a 4-man push bottom. Yeah. And honestly, Denial, they're trying to defend with 2, but I don't think they can.
No, they can't. It's a level 1 and a level 2. If they go in even under the turret this early, they're just going to get poked out. The turret's going to take a huge amount of damage here.
Ooh, Rune Prison on Babunia down to half HP. Top lane turret is finally going down, so Denial, they initiate... Masterwork died to a turret. Not ideal. Might have given experience, did not give away gold. It was an execute here. So no kills to Denial, but... Anyway, yeah, so the top lane push, like, it's initiated by Denial. They just now killed the turret, and Coast Gold could maybe keep sieging.
Here's the thing, though. Perm-backed, Woolite is still pushing, and since Masterwork died, it is a 3-on-3 in the bottom lane.
Yeah.
Nobody has a numbers advantage, and Woolite is now free-farming, which is not a good sign.
Yeah, so Vanna is being sent to the top lane. As far as jungle control goes, the right-hand side blue buff is still untouched right now. I believe that's actually still up for Coast Gold if they want it, so they can eventually get 3 of the 4 buffs. There's jump in. Airwalk's going to get the slowdown onto Nick. Good damage. The Q comes through. Just back out. Takes some damage, but okay gank.
Took a big chunk of his HP.
A lot from minions.
So I thought that the contingency was going to be let's do Dragon afterwards. They decide to push another turret, and those turrets have more base armor because they're tier 2.
Yeah, they're a bit more durable.
They are more durable, but a lot of people will be like, all right, let's go 1 then Dragon and just take that very safe Dragon. Or we go 1-2 then Dragon. They went 1 and didn't even get 2.
Yeah.
So basically they shut themselves off, and Masterwork just getting executed by the turret may have been that little extra oomph they needed.
Well, they got
pressure.
Yeah, I mean, they got greedy for trying to push down Babunia. And, you know, unfortunately, it was such a good start for them, too, though. 4v2, it was going to be an easy turret push. Just took too much damage from that one. So Airwalks is going to grab his own blue buff now. Coast Gold finally completing the 3-for-1 buff trade. No one's around to steal that away from him. 16 minions, same item opening as Kikis, so both Lizard Elder junglers, no surprise there. And now where did Denial go? Willet's holding the mid lane pretty early.
Yeah, and now that it's just an accelerated mid-game at this point, when you take turrets this quickly, you open up a lot of map pressure areas, just little points where you don't want to be unless you have ward coverage. So you put your solo lanes there, and then you take your AD carry and start shoving down another lane. But the problem is if you do that too quickly and the enemy team has a very good scaling team, then they will just sit back and farm.
Ooh, hook play onto Airwalk's. Big amount of damage there. Airwalk's down below half HP on that Lee Sin. More poke comes in.
Well, that's not the right way to go, Riddick.
There's no hook up, but he takes half his health bar just getting over to the turret. Does clear the wave. Another one coming up, though. And basically, both top laners are just sitting there farming their respective lanes, while a 4v4 mid with Denial trying to push.
And Ryze always has the option to teleport in. Shyvana does not have that luxury available to himself. Now Ryze is just in top lane trying to charge his tier, trying to scale into the late game. Because once you have that kind of start where you're level 1 for the first 4 minutes of the game, you got to play catch up, or else you're going to get soloed by an AD carry.
Exactly. Well, those minions go down. Looks like Vanez is going to recall. He's out of mana. Spent plenty of that pushing up. But of course, Shyvana on the other side from Babunia has been doing the same thing. So both teams still looking for control over Dragon area. Masterwork gets his gold from the auto attacks. The hook, the lander comes out. Here comes the jump in. Perm and Kikis. Can they find much? Airwalk's trying to get away. Exhaust is on, though. First blood comes through to Kikis. Denial starting out early, level 4, looking for Masterwork. Not going to get anything more, but great start.
First blood going down. Masterwork, he did die to the turret previously, so that didn't count. But Airwalk's new guy on the team. A little aggressive there. Love the play from Perm. And this is something, he brought Exhaust to the table, and that's what secured the kill. Slowed him down enough, made it so that he had to burn his flash, and then Kikis followed up in kind. And wasn't able to get away. So very good play there by Perm, throwing the lantern back and getting them into position. His aggression was originally on him.
Yeah. Nice stuff overall. So we have the mid lane siege going in right now. Looks like Coast Gold not really committing very heavily, though. They've sent Kaelin to the bottom lane, Lee Sin up to their own red buff. They'll get some damage here, but Denial should have the resource to defend shortly. Small gold lead overall, 600. Denial still in a happy place, just off that first blood gold so far. Otherwise, things going pretty equal. And as the buffs respawn, it's going to be everyone getting the resource for now.
Yeah, and here's the thing, too, is that Coast didn't do their blue for a very long time. It was about the 5-minute, 40-second mark.
Yeah.
So BB's not going to have his until about 10 minutes, almost 11. So this is a distinct advantage for Nick in the mid lane. And that's going to draw some attention from Airwalks. And I guess Masterwork, too, because he's hanging out there.
Yeah. Well, honestly, it's interesting because I see teams react so differently once the 2v1 sort of breaks down, once that phase ends. Because there's these two lanes that are extremely long that tend to get pushed up to a defensive situation, and you can send someone to farm that forever. Where you send everyone else is interesting because you don't tend to sit in the other lane and try to hold up against the frozen one. So you see a lot of these like 3v4s, 4v4s mid lane. So they're really fun to watch.
This is a distinct number advantage for Coast. They're in a 4v possible 3. Because both Woolite and Perm are top, trying to deal with Ryze. So the Dragon goes over to Coast Gold, and they immediately even the gold back up. I like that positioning. They saw the rotation up top with the ward, so they knew that if they got engaged on, they would be in a good situation.
And Airwalks, he's just unfortunately standing on top of a ward. See the gold layout real quick just to see what's going on. 80 carry lead slight for Denial's Woolite. The support, though, big gold lead for Masterwork because he actually did go for a GP10 item. But it's worth pointing out that even though he's got 500 extra gold from the fact that he opened up GP10, Denial are still up in gold from minion farming.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. It's just tiny bits. It's like 100 here, 300 here, 100 here. And then 500 deficit on that. But it means he got his Sight Stone a lot earlier. You can see that right now. He got it for himself. He's also going to get the sweeping lens. He's going to free up vision for them. Also create a lot of map pressure. They already got the dragon, but now it's time to invade. Now it's time to push more turrets.
Ooh, they look for the jump in onto Babunia, but dragon form over the wall is going to keep the Denial top laners safe. Catalyst begun for Vanez. We'll see when he gets that kind of going. Lizard Elder done for Kikis, though. It's kind of a big deal. Hook there onto Vanez. Rise a little bit squishy right now. Goes in a little bit. Good damage back on a perm, though. Looks like Coast Gold able to easily answer for that.
That was one of those hooks. I don't know if it was a good idea to take. He took half his HP. He's going to take even more now.
Pain coming through. Coast Gold, honestly, really showing a much better performance than they were in their earlier loss in, I believe, the semifinals here. So, looking good for this one.
So BB actually just went top. He cleared the wave with his explosive cask and tried to outposition Woolite. But Woolite wasn't going to have any of that. They're free farming their AD carry to see if he can deal with Riddick's in late game.
Yeah.
Because that's probably going to be where a lot of the focus is, especially for Coast Gold, unless they've changed their strategy drastically, which it looks like with this addition of Airwalks and Vanez might be the case.
Yeah, they've got a much more consistent carry top laner. I remember this is a team that ran with
Morsu.
Yeah, Morsu, who ran permanent bans on Jax. Woolite might.
He's got Flash Prison.
Flash Prison would do it. There it is. QE is going to land flash away from Woolite. Can he get away from this one? Vanez is still hasted up. There's the Inspire Shield as well. One more Rune Prison locks him up. EQ, more damage coming through.
Barrier's still available.
Oh, the Lantern and the barrier keeps him safe. Kick up the backline, kills off Masterwork.
It's going for BB.
For BB, good damage comes through, lands the W.
Is he going to get all of them?
He might. There's no charges. Last charge on the ulti. There it is. Triple kill. Kikis comes up gigantic.
That isolation damage, picking them off, and the ultimate with the reset, the movement speed, chase potential is ridiculous. That first pick, Kha'Zix, setting Kikis up for success. But down bottom, Riddick's is in trouble.
The turret barrier goes in. Babunia, the flash away. Can he kite it enough? Looks like not.
Oh, but the turret.
He will trade the kill backwards. So there we go. 1 for 1. Riddick's burning the summoners. Same for Babunia.
So here's the thing, too, is they picked up Vanez, right? More consistent top laner. He's not consistent in CS right now. He got 2v1, but he still hasn't gotten a lot of CS since an Airwalks.
Explosive Cow's going to knock Nick right back into range. Flash over the wall.
Wow. So that was actually a good choice. He could have flashed forward and tried to re-engage onto Airwalks, but making the safe defensive option was good because he most likely would have sacrificed his own life. He still had intervention available to him.
Yeah.
But plays it safe, doesn't go for the risky play.
All right. Well, I mean, the rest of his team is winning. At that point, if you know you're up 5-1 in kills, you probably shouldn't flash forward for risky plays. You know your team's already winning.
And also, Vanez is very behind in farm, and it's a rise. He is dependent on scaling into the late game. If you keep him down early mid, you can delay that late game for a very long time to make it so when you all group up, he's only at about 2 items and his row is still stacking.
True. We'll see if they can keep that objective under control. I mean, yeah, but the point I was trying to sort of complete before, I mean, you were talking about him being inconsistent in minion kills, is Coast Gold are used to playing with a carry top laner. But instead of it being like a lane bully who tries to snowball the game, it's, well, you know, he's going to scale up and be a late game threat. So yeah, Coast Gold have to play a bit slower of a game. Wait for that champion to come online, wait for Rise to go big in team fights.
It's not too different, though, than their normal style.
Yeah.
Because Morsu used to play to just dominate the lane.
Yeah.
So that's when he played Lee Sin. Then he'd pick things like Aurelia and Jax.
True.
Which
we never had to play Jax.
Was always banned against him, which is late game scaling. So Coast Gold, it might be right in their comfort zone to have that Rise in the top lane. But he hasn't been the same lane as Babunia, which has allowed Babunia to actually build Blade of the Ruined King instead of a defensive item. So he's just a heavy damage Shyvana right now. Has really good CS despite being in a 2v1 situation very early on.
Yeah.
Which is a big testament to top laners. When you get 2v1, it's a very esoteric situation if it doesn't happen to you all of the time, and which is mostly what we see in competitive play. In solo queue, we don't see a lot of that.
Yeah. These guys, at least in Babunia's case, is adapting well to it.
Yeah.
Vana's having a bit of a harder time, as we've been pointing out. 126 to 102 for the AD carry CS, 126 to 92 for the mid laners, and 101 to 60 down the line, really. A minion lead here for Denial. That's a lot of the reason for their gold lead.
Woolite's confident that he can dual Vanus. Vanus has no defensive stats. He just has some offense here. He's waiting for the cooldowns, and he's got this.
Plays a little bit back. There we go. One more attack. Oh, the W is going to miss, but the culling is available. Doesn't.
Oh,
he went for the minion wave. That was a little weird. He had a lot of opportunities to go for that.
Secret Service minions.
Yeah, jumping in the way of President Rise.
Oh, he's not even using the skin.
Doesn't even matter. They know.
But the Masterwork, that was like a really confident move on his part. He had no backup. Like, BB was rotating and Airwalk was as well.
Well, with culling down, there's no way Lucian chases you. He doesn't even have boots.
I was just thinking of him getting away.
Masterwork would survive.
Oh, Kick is going after Airwalks. If he takes the jungler out,
half
that
HP,
allows Dragon no problem. But now that he chunked him to half, that's just as good right now.
There we go. Coast Gold still want to stop the one. Perm waiting in the brush. He's going to find BB. There's the hook. Puts the lantern down. Kikis does not take it. Then he jumps forward. Boxwall comes down. Doesn't find anything. Going to get knocked back by Gregus here. Vanus shows up. Good damage to Kikis. Going to flash away for himself. Looks like they're going to trade and do not much more here. The wards go down and now Coast Gold. The team that feel more confident. Vanus has teleport. He's used it to get down here, of course.
But while they're doing this, Woolite's in the top lane, and if they get engaged on, they're most likely going to lose an inhibitor turret.
Well, we'll see who wins the fight. Vaughn is getting pushed down, very low on health. Ignite is on shield from Airwalks, will keep him alive. Dragon still being contested, though. Top lane turret taking more and more damage right here. Coast Gold still trying to take down Dragon. Denial still trying to slow them down on this one. Will they go in one more time? The smite's going to come down. Dragon picked up by Coast Gold. Will they get more out of this one? Kick is jumping away. They jump in on towards Perm. Masterwork low on health. Damage comes through. One hit to go. They're not going to get it. Inhib turret is dead. Vanus is recalled to go defend this one. So Inhib turret versus Dragon. Good body slam in. Will they have enough? Q comes out. Kill picked up by Ritix. Can he get farther away? Gets the E. Jumps out. Dragon plus a kill for Inhib turret. Oh my god. Kick is still finding more. Barrier pop. Ooh, almost kills him.
And meanwhile, up top, it's a no mana Woolite.
Vanus is still trying, waiting for cooldown.
Oh, flashes into it.
He was one hit from dying. He had to flash away. Barrier popped. That's going to be more pressure available for Woolite.
And that just shows how powerful Woolite is against this unscaled up Rise.
Yes.
Has over twice his CS right now. Forces the flash out of him. And he had no mana. And now Airwalks is going to try to finish the job.
And land the Q. Flash by Woolite. He's going to keep himself safe.
He's okay with that. That's a worth.
So Inhib turret is still dead, though. And that's a tough one to call. If they can keep that inhibitor safe the rest of the game, then, I mean, getting the Dragon's not too bad of a trade. The gold is fairly close to similar.
Yeah, especially this early on with Dragon. We're approaching that mid-game area. Everybody's still pretty down there in levels. I'd say the average was somewhere about 9, considering the sports are 7.
Yeah. See what we got with this one. Just the wave through coming back up again. Honestly, these teams, generally speaking, aren't fighting a lot until something like Dragon comes up. They're otherwise kind of playing the laning phase, playing minion manipulation, and trying to outposition, but no one's really giving up kills so far in the mid-game.
Kiki's looking for Ridix. He can get him, too.
He can get it nice net. They're going to put the slowdown. Kick is still showing up the trap.
Oh, it didn't activate.
It's a little bit too far back. Doesn't quite catch up to Kha'Zix.
Gets the flash. Yeah, that's big.
Master hooked in. No follow-up. He's okay.
It's one of those, I'm looking to the left, but I'm throwing it to the right.
And then turret's going to go down in the mid lane, so good siege right there. The mid laner.
Is he going for a kick?
Airwalks on the backside, kicks Woolite, but doesn't get him into Gragas. Airwalks overall, he'll be safe. Culling, good damage. Oh my gosh, they almost get him. Nice shots by Woolite. Airwalks barely surviving, has to pop another ward to get over the wall. And the hook on a Masterwork, he's going to be going down. Minion has destroyed a red turret in the bottom lane as well. Plus the Caitlyn falling, kills find everywhere.
So Masterwork saves Airwalks, but at the same time, because of the positioning the route he had to take, he was at a huge disadvantage. And now, Denial are just pushing out this game. They have that top inhibitor exposed, but still very early on. It's 18 minutes in.
Denial just completely out-rotating, though. They left Shyvana bottom lane the entire time and just found fight after fight after fight, every single one in the advantage, and got a number of turrets down for it, a lot of pressure overall on the map. And look at the Babunia still untouched down here, about to get 2 turrets by himself.
And I love the strategy that Denial's brought to the table. They were getting a little out-rotated at first, but then the decision-making from Coast Gold to not get the Dragon and to go for the Tier 2 instead may not have been the best choice, but then it bit them in the butt eventually. Because now they're sitting at a point where Denial has just shown that their laning phase is great. Kick is 5-0-0.
Yeah.
He's been taking every kill that he comes up to. When he has somebody in his sights, he's going to execute them. Now he has his evolved wings, and he's going to be able to close that distance even easier and go for resets. And he's going for the carry. That first pick, really, really good.
It's a fully offensive build, man. Lizard, Hexdrinker, Brutalizer. Merc tries to make sure he doesn't get stunned up too much. Gonna be another Lantern over the wall for Nick. Nothing too special in the mid lane here. But yeah, I mean, the damage coming out from a lot of good sources. Kikis, as you accurately mentioned, he's having a great game for himself. Babunia, like, his score doesn't show a lot of impact in the game. He's 1-1-0. But the thing is, he has always been, Babunia, he's always been off on the side, splitting down. He just got 2 turret kills during that last push right there. He's actually providing so much gold to his team.
Yeah, I would actually compare him to Vanez in terms of what they've accomplished in terms of CS and how much they've been pushing. And the wave clear from Ryze is really lacking unless you activate the Desperate Power, where Shyvana just walks up, clears it with Burnout, and then continues to push. Very good turret pusher, whereas Ryze is one of the weakest in the game. But anyway, back to the point. Previously was this composition with the Lucian and the Kha'Zix, the very early game focus, up against something like a Ryze, Gragas. They are exploiting that. They are just taking the fight to Coast Gold over and over again. And you can see Roa was just now completed. Tyr is getting there. It's still going to take a while. But then he's going to go for a Glacial Shroud. Or...
yeah.
Glacial Shroud, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, Spectre's Cal? Glacial Shroud?
Wrong side.
What the?
You know, and what it's worth, we actually got it wrong. Babunia didn't even rush a Spectre's Cowl.
Nope.
He hasn't been scoring off against Vanez ever.
Yeah. They've
been actually going to different lanes. So Babunia... in solo queue, that would be the build, and here he's not facing him in the mashup, so he goes for the armor.
Airwalks is in there.
It's going to be nice. Oh, the Q's going to miss. Flash E is going to get the slow. Willet's already popped his dash. High damage coming out. Barrier comes out. He's really trying to fight this one off, but no, the kick into the second Q. Airwalks picks up the kill. Third in the game.
Thought it was a one-on-one, but out of the bush. Blind Monk.
There you go. He can't see you. You can't see him. Shows up, makes it happen.
Eventually saw him.
Yeah.
And then it was panic mode there. All those flashes burned from Vanez and Airwalks. Woolite didn't have his available to him. He blows the barrier, but next time they fight, he might be able to slink out of that one. But we're talking about Babunia's build. Now he's getting the magic resistance and the armor before he builds any HP, just to see and evaluate who's actually big on the enemy team. Who's going to be doing the bulk of the damage to me? And right now, it doesn't look like it's going to be Ryze, but you could prepare for it.
Speaking of preparing, though, Denial and Coast Gold around for the Dragon. The hook, the pull back on Airwalks, the box going to land as well. Here's the TP from Ryze. Coast Gold trying to find the kill. They don't knock Perm in the correct direction. They're going to look for a little bit of Dragon pressure here. They've got to be careful because the team is going to collapse soon. They're going hard with this one, though. 5 versus 3 for a short time. The numbers advantage is going to work out and give a Dragon over to Coast Gold. 4,000 gold separates the team. Nick off on the side, gets Rune prisoned up, not got anywhere to go.
Whoa!
Oh! He's got somewhere to go with the Lantern. Pulls him to safety, nice.
And now they're going to try to converge on them. Vanez has the speed up. Woolite now has his flash available to him. It's going to be one of these. Dragon's Descent still there?
Nope, not quite.
Oh!
Nice killing, good damage. Riddick's going to answer back a little bit.
Dragon's Rage available, not going to take the Q. All right. Dragon once again falls into Coast Gold's hands. 2 dragons now.
Yeah.
And now they're still 4K gold behind. This is all those objectives.
Yeah.
Now they need to take some for themselves.
Uh-oh, the hook on advantage. They're going to go for much here. The slow from Kale, not much more. I got to say, I am impressed with Coast Gold because despite being the team that is down, I mean, this much, like pretty heavily in fights and turrets, everything, they've managed to posture for dragons and get them successfully many times in a row. They played around the teleport exceptionally well. Airwalks has not missed his smite. Vanez TPing into the fights later on, though he's not killing minions very well. He's obviously losing turrets to Babunia. He's at least getting there for the fights and allowing other global objectives to go Coast's way.
Yeah, their preparation for the Dragons is on point, and the way that they will target Kikis and try to get him low and dissuade him from coming in and trying to smite the Dragon is great. And also the fact that Airwalks can reveal him if he does is also good. And they kick him away. Just hypothetical situations here, but Kikis, he knows them in his head, and he says it's not worth it.
Nope. Doesn't go for too much there. Especially you play the odds in a game like this. When you never have perfect information, you gotta be like, what's the upside, what's the downside? Make the right choice.
I could smite the dragon, and we could ace them, or I could die and just look silly, and then they push 2 turrets.
Exactly. Looking silly is the worst downside possible. You know, like,
how many people are watching you right now? You'd look silly in front of all of them.
That's just, your stock just goes way down.
And yet we do this every day. Ah, no.
Okay. I just got that.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? I don't understand. Oh, right, because I look silly all the time. Well, it's going to be the pressure for the red buff here. Perm and Kickus are around. It looks like BB's there to defend. The smite's going to come through. Airwalks gets it. Good attempted steal by Kickus with the W, but it's not going to do much. Sweeps away a ward. So 3 sweepers here for both sides. Top laners and AD carries still holding on to theirs.
Once again, Ryze solo farming by himself in the bottom lane, but still 80 CS down, which is huge. I mean, Shyvana, basically Babunya didn't let that affect him at all. The early 2v1, if you looked at the scores now, you're like, oh, it's just a standard game. I can't tell what happened. But man, Ryze has not been able to accomplish anything.
We'll see if he can in 50 minutes or so when he finally gets a few more items going. He's actually building towards a very fast Frozen Heart right here. Worried about the physical damage to the enemy team. Needs to jump in towards Babunya. Rune Prison goes on, but he's already turned into a dragon, so he is a safe man.
Ooh, open inhibitor up top, and Denial have the inside route to this. No vision, and now they're going to get seen.
They're going in close, of course. Coast Gold are trying to join as soon as they possibly can, but Denial might get this too soon. Babunya stopping some of the recalls there. Ritix and Masterwork putting some damage down. This is not good for Masterwork. He's got to get backwards. The flash in. Babunya, he's going to get the kill and trade it back. Here's the fight in the top lane. Going to be a kill onto Ryze. Airwalks forced out of his own base. BB forced away as well. The jump in. Kick is looking for a flash Q. Gets another 2 kills. You got a 1 versus 4 now.
This could be a Nexus turret right now. They got 4 of them off the field. 10 seconds on the support. And you have a Kayle, you have your AD carry available, you have a physical damage.
They can keep going.
They can actually get this game.
The hook on Ritix, he's going to be going down. Ace picked up. Only Karma is alive. Can Denial close the game out? Masterwork is trying. It's taking more damage. Only Ryze now back in. The jump in.
Wow.
And down goes the Nexus 26.5 minutes in. Denial, the opened inhibitor turret, turned into the game-ending blow in a minute.
So what Woolite opened up as a path, he's like, yeah, that's always an option. Let's just put it off to the side, contest you guys at Dragon, and then that sneaky rotate just up there. There was a ward that saw them, but it didn't see how many were up there. And then Babunya re-engaging on 2 gave them the numbers advantage in that fight up top. They win it. No AD carry available. Ritix gets to the fight very, very late. Masterwork off the field. That was just prime rotation there by Denial. And absolutely. I love that they knew they could do that.
Yes.
They were like, we have so much physical damage. Physical damage shreds turrets so easily. Let's just go for it. And Kha'Zix ends the game, Kickus, 7-0-2. Amazing score, involved in 9 out of the 12 kills.
Yeah.
So picking up 7 of them for himself.
Yeah.
So a lot of the gold was converged onto him. Didn't die. Great game. Loved his triple kill, which was almost a 1-on-3 at that point. People had been poked down a tiny bit and their mana was low, but he had, I think, 2 of those kills unassisted.
Yeah, he did an amazing job by himself. Absolutely, of course, the team, you give him some of the credit for that one. I actually liked how much Denial kept the top lane pushed. Because you only have that option if you actually have the minion wave kind of ready to help you out there. Yes, you can backdoor an inhibitor. There's no bonus there. But generally speaking, to get the rest of the game, you've got to have minions there with you to help it out. And the fact that they always kept it pushed, either Woolite or someone was there to keep the minions forward and say, look, at any time they can show up, and they could always keep them honest. You mentioned Babunya as well, right? Went back for the 1v2, died knowing he was keeping his team in a 4v3 on an inhibitor. All great, high odds moves. Denial, obviously very, very well coordinated. I like them as a team. On the other side, though, Denial showed a lot better than they were before. A lot better. Airwalks, I thought, played quite well. His team is behind. I thought Masterwork still made a number of mistakes, unfortunately. The execute to not get them their second turret early game. Overextended, he gave away first blood, I believe, as well. Just honestly, a couple of mistakes there, but the new pickups, I thought, played largely well.
Yeah, so Coast Gaming overall looks a little bit better than they did previously. We're going to have to see if they can actually go for that gold with their team comp.
Yeah, see if they can find it. It's do or die time. Our first playoff game is in the books. We need to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, it's game 2 between Team Coast Gold and Denial. Stick around, there's more Challenger action coming your way.